Okay, the first thing you would have done would have been to make sure that you were mapped to the VM store and then being able to see the ISOs. Now your ISOs are under the students folder and there's ISO files, and we're going to be using Windows 10, so just make sure we know where this is first. Okay, once we've got that, we can now move on to our VirtualBox and we'll have a look at that. Okay, now you know where your ISO is. What you want to do is set up your very first machine. So we're going to, here it is, this is Oracle VirtualBox Manager. We're going to have a quick look at this. So we're going to go for new, and we're going to go for our name. So let's go for Windows 10, and I'm just going to call it a bare bones, so I know that that's my bare bones system. Now your machine folder is where it's going to store your virtual boxes. So there you go, you've got, as you can see, mine is under C users gMarketeer VirtualBox VMs. I'm choosing Windows, Microsoft Windows, and it's Windows 10 64-bit. Okay, so next thing I do is go next. Now, this is the recommended amount of memory. Now, think about it. How much memory do you have in your computer? If you have 8 gig of RAM, then you could probably use 2 gig of RAM quite easily. Now, if you don't, and it might run a bit slow though, you might want to go down to 1. We'll go for the default of 2. If you've got 16 gig of RAM, you could choose 4 gig of RAM on this and it would go a bit faster. But let's stick with the default as of 2 just now. Then it says the recommended size of the hard disk is 50 GB and create a virtual hard disk now. Okay, now this is where we get things going. So we'll go create, and it's going to create a VDI, virtual disk image, and then it's going to be dynamically allocated, which means then it will grow in size the more you put into it. So it won't actually be 50 gigabytes, but it will have enough space there. It's putting aside 50 gigabytes to make sure it does have enough for everything you want to do. Okay, so next. And there we are. It's telling me where it's going. So Windows 10 bare bones, and that's where I'm putting it. And then it's got 50 gig, and then the hard disk in megabytes is there, and that's the limit that it's going to have here. Okay, so 50 gig, and then go create. And I'll come back to the next section just in a second. Okay, here we are with our Windows 10 bare bones system, and what we're going to look at is a few settings that would be useful. So first setting would be in general and then advanced, and you'll see that the share clipboard is disabled. We're going to change that to bi-directional so we can do it both ways, and drag and drop, which will come in useful as well. Other things that will be useful to you would be network settings. By default we've got enable network adapter 1 on, and it's connected to network address translation, which allows the machine to use your internet settings from your actual machine. But we're going to add, because we want to be building up networks and talking to other machines, we're going to add a second one. Now we see it's not attached just now, and we're going to put it onto internal network. Now the name doesn't really matter, that's fine. Okay, another additional thing you can do if you want to is share folders. Now you can go have a look and add a folder, so I'm just going to choose other, and in this case I'm going to choose OneDrive. Now that would take, I could choose a single folder if I want to, and go select and go auto mount. That would allow me then to have access to the folders on my machine as well. And that comes in useful for taking stuff across to machines and saving stuff from machines and whatever else as well. So OK, then we'll OK that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the machine, and what we're going to be looking for the operating system to get it installed. So let's have a look at that. So start, and it should come up with a machine, and there we go. Now it's looking here, and you'll see this little choose a virtual optical disk file. Now if there's nothing in here, it hasn't found it, which it probably hasn't for you. You have to go looking for it. Okay, so we go find the machine that we want to add. Okay, now here you could go add and then go look for it in your folders and whatever else. So I'm going to choose the Windows 10 Pro. Now that's the one I showed you earlier. Okay, so I'll go choose. It's there. No. Let's do that again. Okay, so start once you get your ISO found, and it should find it automatically and start up for you. Okay, so we can see here that Windows is starting. In the event it didn't start, you can click on devices, optical drives, and then choose a disk file. Okay, and that way you can go look for your machine, look for your ISO file. If it didn't work the first time, have a look at that. Okay. Okay, after a little time you'll come up with this Windows setup guide. Now you'll notice that by default it's on English United States. We're going to change that obviously because we're in United Kingdom, and the keyboard will change to English United Kingdom as well, so we're good. We don't need English, you don't need to change that, that'll change, we could change that later. So next, and then we go install now. Now it'll come up with another screen just in a second or two. Okay, this is where we get a chance to choose. We're going to choose Windows 10 Pro for this one and go next. Okay, now this is just accept the license terms. We'll go next, and we're going to choose a custom install. Click on custom, and this is all the defaults. It's already, we already set the disk size here and everything else we don't need just now. If we wanted to do partitioning, we'd go into this, but we'll do this. We'll have a look at that later. So next. And there it is. It's now going to install. Now it'll take a little while, so I'll resume the video when it's at the finishing up stage. And there's a wee restart just after the finishing up's happening, and we'll move on to the next part. This is the machine getting ready after restart. After the restart, you'll get a screen saying just a moment. Obviously it'll be more than just a moment, but it'll get there. Okay, here we are after the start, and it's got Cortana asking if you want to help, but we'll get to ignore that in a couple of minutes. Okay, I've disabled voice control. Unless you like it, you can keep it. It's up to you. Okay, obviously we need to start with our region. So, United Kingdom, correct. So click yes. Next thing it looks for is the correct keyboard layout, so choose United Kingdom. And again, don't want to add a second keyboard layout, so skip that. Then we get some important setups to do. Now during this time it may do a restart. If it does and it says boot from CD DVD, do not press a key. Just ignore it, ignore the message, let it run. Okay, here we are back, having a look to see what's new from Windows. Okay, here it is in newest Windows features. It's about 4 gig, and it'll continue in the back. I'm just going to skip for now and we'll do updates later, so we can get on with this a bit quicker. Okay, here we are at the next screen, how we would like to set up. Now we're going to set up for a personal use. Okay, so we'll go click on that and then go next. Okay, in here you'll see it's going to ask you for a Microsoft account. We are not going to use that, we're going to use an offline account. So click on offline account. Then it'll go through the please wait again. And we should almost be there. And here we go. Now, saying sign in, but just choose limited experience, because what we don't want is everything from Microsoft annoying you for this one. So we'll go there. Okay, then it'll say who used this PC. Now just put, I'm going to go for a default account and just put, going to call it student. Next, and then it's going to ask for a password. Now I use a capital P @ SSW number 0 RD 1. Right, so there you go. There's, it should, password 1. There you go. That's the password I use as default in classes. It makes it easier if everyone uses the same password, because we could troubleshoot quite easily then. So next, then confirm your password. So capital P @ SSW number 0 RD 1. And again, just check that it's done that. There you go, password 1. So next. Then you get your security questions. Now, obviously, you don't have to answer them properly, so I'm just going to, you have to answer something, so I'm just going to put password in for every question. The city where I was born in password. And what was my childhood nickname? Sad, I was called password. There you go. So you won't forget that, because if you ever have to recover the account, you just put password. Right, unless you really want Cortana, I'm just going to say no, to decline. Again, if you want timeline and other Windows features, I'm just going to say no. I'm trying to minimise the amount of features that are on there. Not online speech recognition, except no, I don't want Microsoft and apps to use my location, and I don't want them to keep track of my device. It's a virtual machine, so we shouldn't lose it. You can, if you want, to send diagnostics if there's anything going wrong, but we'll just say basic. No, I don't want to improve inking and typing. And no, I don't want tailored ads. I don't want apps. And there we go. Okay, couple of little things to go. Just having a little look. And as you can see, it's just getting everything ready, and it should start up within the next minute or so. Okay, as you can see, the forever helpful Microsoft has now got us into here. Now I'm just going to say, do you want it to be discoverable by other PCs on this network? Well, we're going to be, so we'll just say yes just now. Okay, now there's a couple of different things you can do. What you want to do is set up a browser. So we'll go on here. Now I would recommend that you use Chrome other than Edge. Okay, now you can use Edge if you want to. It's not too bad, but it's up to you. Okay, so accept that. Just run it, and it should just install. There's a couple other things I'm going to get you to do right after this is done. But I would advise changing over to Chrome when you get a minute yourself later on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to get you to do is to insert on devices, insert guest edition CD image. Okay, this will give you some optional extras which are useful. So we'll go click on devices and then insert guest editions image. Now to see it, click on the folder and you'll see this PC, and in this PC you'll see on the CD drive the virtual guest box editions. Go there, and the second bottom one, which will be the 64-bit one, is one we want, so we'll double click that and then just follow the instructions on screen. So there you go. So just go with the default, whatever's there, and we'll get that installed. Okay, install. And we can just finish up, or to say manual reboot later. Finish, because I'm going to show you something else. Close that. Right, now shut down your machine. It's just the same way of shutting down any machine. So click on the power button and we'll go to shut down. Okay, now just to show you very quickly, what I'll do is I will start up my machine again and show you how to log in, because there's sometimes a bit of confusion on how to log in on these machines. So we'll get it started up and I'll quickly show you. What you need to do is, once the screen comes up and it all starts up, okay, you'll see here it will start up, it shouldn't take too long. Okay, what I'm suggesting here is to make sure that if you're, well, it will come up your screen here and then it'll say student and password. Okay, now if you didn't get that, what you can do is insert Control-Alt-Delete if it needs to. Okay, so you need to go to Input, Keyboard, Insert, Control-Alt-Delete. In our case we don't have to just now, but you will later. So it's capital P, @ SSW, number 0, RD1. And that's us back into our machine again. Now at this stage I would suggest that you go in and do the Windows updates, let it run, get that done. Okay, so you can go into settings, okay, so once settings comes up you can go find the settings, just type in update. Or you can just scroll down to update and security. There we go. So check for updates. Now it will come up with updates for you, and then that would take too long for this video, so I'm not going to show you on this one. Once it does, I would suggest that you give it a bit of time and get yourself fully updated on the operating system. Okay, as you can see, quite a few updates to do. Okay, and then allow them to happen. Okay, so you can get all these done in your own time. Now, another thing to think about is activation. Okay, so if you put activate. There we go. Activation, sorry. See if Windows activation is activated. Okay, so you go have a look in system settings. Now it's telling me that it's not activated, so what we want to do is make sure we can activate it. So can activate it here. So change product key, and then if you look for the product key, which is in again with bring this over so you can see. Okay, the Windows 10 license code is in where you got your ISO from, and there's the license code there. Okay, now type that in, and then just click on activate, and you'll get an activated window. Okay, so right, and that concludes this section.